Liquidity is wealth. Poverty is a cash flow problem. Many Africans will think they're in poverty, but actually what has sponsored their poverty is a problem of liquidity. And my objective today is to have clarity on why liquidity matters so much in your wealth journey. As a matter of fact, most Africans don't have a wealth problem. They have a liquidity problem. You can own land. You can own cows. You can own a house. You can even look rich. But if you can't access cash today, you are one emergency away from poverty. How much cash can you access right now? I want you to do that experiment. Check your bank account. How much money can you access right now in the case you had a short-term liquidity challenge? Let me say this very clearly. Illiquidity is actually modern-day poverty. And today I want to break this thing down into 4 things. Number 1, what liquidity actually is. Number 2, why Africans misunderstand wealth. Number 3, I'll be looking at the data behind why people stay broke. And number 4, I'll be checking the systems you must build so money never traps you again. To get us started, I want to define what liquidity is. Liquidity simply means how fast can your assets become usable cash without you losing value. I'm sorry I'm looking on the sides because for me, I talk to people on the studio right now. There are a couple of assets I want to name here for your information. For example, cash is fully liquid. Mobile money is liquid. Money market fund is liquid in 24 to 72 hours. What about land? Land is not liquid. Houses, that is not liquid. Cars, that is not liquid. Cows, that is not liquid. You will find that Africa glorifies assets that trap cash. We celebrate ownership, but we don't celebrate access. The wealthy know that access triumphs ownership. That is why someone can own 3 plots of land. You can even have a permanent house. You can have a good car, but you'll still end up borrowing $500 at 30% per month just to meet your short-term needs. That is not wealth. That is illiquidity disguised as success. You can begin to see my drift here. There's a big lie in Africa, and I want us to talk facts because the data does not lie. Numbers don't lie. Across Africa, over 70% of household wealth is locked in non-liquid assets. Over 60% of adults cannot raise emergency funds equal to 1 month of expenses. That's a study by Africa Development Bank. SMEs will collapse not from losses, but from cash flow gaps. In Kenya right now, most SMEs will die within 3 years. Not because business is bad, but because one delayed payment breaks the system. Do you realize then that liquidity becomes now the oxygen of any financial ecosystem? Profit without liquidity still kills businesses. You need to go for liquidity. Let me show you why discipline will still fail you. Here is the mistake most people make. They say, if I can just be disciplined enough with my money, if I can just hold it on together, 1,000 times no. That is not how you build wealth. Discipline without systems collapses under pressure. It is the systems now that crystallizes the full force of your discipline. Just like in building wealth blueprints, success is not about willpower. Wealth is not motivation. Realize that liquidity must be engineered. If liquidity depends on your mood, if liquidity depends on your discipline, if liquidity depends on your memory, you will shortly lose when pressure hits. How many a man have gone into poverty, not because they didn't have assets, but because they didn't have liquidity? You must design liquidity and not hope for it. We have put together 4 liquidity systems that are making millionaires in Africa. As a matter of fact, liquidity more than income is a net worth accelerator. The first system, the 90-day cash buffer. Just as the name suggests, the first rule you must put in place: you are not wealthy if you can't survive 90 days without income. So that means then your target as an individual, you need at least 3 months of expenses. If you're an SME, if you're a business, you need at least 3 months of operating cost. Now, The question then is, where will this money live? This money needs to live in short-term financial assets. For example, money market funds. For example, the treasury bills ladder. For example, having a separate wallet account in order to answer your short-term liquidity. Not Shako shares, not Chama contributions, not land, not cows, not houses. Pure liquidity. Those are assets that can be converted to cash within 24 to 72 hours. The second system that I want to share with you today is called the income diversification system. Most Africans have one income stream. I hope I'm not talking to you now. And that one income stream has one fixed timing and no redundancy. That's the definition of fragility. That's why your wealth ecosystem is fragile. You need one primary income. It could be a salary, it could be a business, but you need a secondary cash flow. That could be coming from consulting, it could be coming from commissions, it could be coming from digital real estate, it could be coming from rent. Again, you can layer an optional upside, for example, investment. Liquidity increases with timing diversity, not just amount. So how you layer your assets determines how strong your financial ecosystem is. The third system is what I call the asset liquidity stack. Every asset you buy must answer one question and one question alone. How fast can this asset rescue me? How fast can this asset rescue me in the day of trouble? You need to rank assets in three ways. The first one is access speed. The second one is value loss on sale. And the third one is transfer friction. If 80% of your net worth is slow or is frozen or is in emotional assets like cows, houses, etc., you are completely illiquid. Here's the number 4 system that you need to put in place. Consider credit as a liquidity tool, not consumption. The rich use credit for timing. The rich use credit for cash flow smoothing. The rich use credit for opportunity capture. The poor, on the other hand, they will use credit for survival, they will use credit for consumption, they will use credit for shame masking. You are borrowing so that your landlord cannot kick you out. Here is the rule. Never use debt to fund a lifestyle your cash flow cannot sustain. Can I say that one more time? Never use debt to fund a lifestyle your cash flow cannot sustain. Liquidity plus discipline plus structure, that's where power is. Debt without liquidity, what is that? Slavery, baby. You are completely in jail. Here is why land is not wealth, and this is particularly important, especially for my comrades in Africa. I must begin by saying something controversial. Land is not an investment. Neither is land wealth if it does not produce liquidity. Land is, what is land then? Land is two things. The first one, it's a store of value, but it is never a cash flow engine. Are you hearing me very well now? If you own land, but you cannot borrow cheaply against it, and you cannot sell it quickly, or you can't generate income from it, then land is emotional wealth. It is not financial wealth. True wealth builders know that we don't build wealth by emotions, we build wealth by structure. Liquidity will always turn your assets into tools. Illiquidity now turns your asset into trophies or items that you can sell cheaply at your detriment. I need you to do a quick experiment, which we are now calling in 1 Million Nation, the liquidity check. These are the 3 questions I want you to answer honestly. The first one, if income stopped today, how long will you last? Number 2, how much cash can you raise in 7 days without borrowing? Number 3, what percentage of your wealth is accessible in under 72 hours? And number 4, by the way, how many income streams do actually pay you monthly? If these numbers are unclear, you are not in control. Remember again, wealth is clarity over capital. It is clarity that precedes wealth. I now want to share with you some systems that you're going to put in place now to begin to build your liquidity. Remember again, you don't rise by trying harder. You rise by building systems that will force progress. There are a couple of liquidity systems and there are advantages of them. The 3 main advantages of liquidity systems is, number 1, they remove panic. Number 2, they reduce bad decisions. Number 3, they create optionality. You are able to have options. Wealth is not about how much you own. It is about how much freedom your money gives you. How free are you? Could you be having a portfolio of assets, but your freedom relative to your assets is not only inexistent, but it's also just a story to be told to children? One thing that you need to begin to see is this. If you don't know your liquidity position, you are just guessing. We have built a quick score in Cora that diagnoses your liquidity, checks your health, checks your cash flow resilience, and checks your wealth readiness. It takes 2 minutes. It's free of charge. I'm putting a link right down below this video. You can check your liquidity right now and see how you're doing. Because in Africa, ultimately, liquidity is survival. Our power is in our systems, and wealth, baby, must be engineered. In 1 million nation, we build differently.